Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of The Letter. Everybody's a believer now. The only thing is, who knows that anybody else is, too? This could be a little bit tricky to arrange everything, but in the meantime, back in Isabella's apartment. You're up early, I thought you left. This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, a ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it has become a common sight after the three of them, including... After the three... Oh, okay. After the three of them found an interest. I get it. After the three of them, including Zach and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zach's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand? As long as there's food, she's happy. Me? I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Yeah, oh man, on one hand I want to know what that was, but on the other hand, it's probably funnier if I don't know. Easier times. Good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy. A strange fit with all the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up, without the hyphen, on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response, and a short answer.
I've checked with Zach and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her if the timing for a joke isn't off, or doing so won't be inappropriate. I don't want to alarm her either, there's no reason to. Yet. Until Zach gets here, or until I've received an answer from Rebecca, whichever comes first. I am curious, like with the story update... Yeah, she was seen at the library. Maybe that's it. Because I'm sure that was an update like, until I get an answer from them, uh-oh, one of them's dead, but, you know, Rebecca obviously lived, and we just called Zach. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all of her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zach's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that, I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise from the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them, so I won't have to think. One by one they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. That's the same thing. So many things occurring. The papers we've gotten from BRC don't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? What will asking those people do? If anything, this only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here, but how many exactly are there? Come on, out there. More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca. Zach. Isabella.
They're all depending on me, and...
Ash!
I love that they do the question mark. Like, who do you think it is? The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything, running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease in her eyebrows grows deeper at my lack of response. Although she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment, she seems to accept that. Quietly, she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then, the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. The scent reaches me first, before I've gotten the chance to take in what she has handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting, Despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'd eat on a rainy day. Though from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is handing me something equally as strange. In fact, she's already started digging in hers. I'm just not sure if the taste will be equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. As a background noise, the voices from it seem too cheerful, a welcome distraction, if anything. It's only after she has finished off half of the bowl does she acknowledge the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish in her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then close. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. What is this, something like some snack she ate when she was a kid or something? When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet sincerity underlies each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has preferred not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zach and Rebecca is both out. Ugh. Zach and Rebecca are both out there. Who knows when that ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present we have a chance at respite, maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us. Quietly, just sitting side by side like this, without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella never pushes it. God damn. Isabella never pushes it. Rather, she lets her own silence convey her hope. Whether I'll allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me. I don't know why the hell you would say I'm not hungry.
Thank you.
Like, this is a big duh moment, but like, why would I ever not? Is this like a weird meal that is gonna mess me up later? Like, I really don't get why this is a choice. It actually kind of bothers me that this is a choice. This is too easy. Is there something in the food? Like, I didn't trust the food. The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared. Yet she accepts us with a smile and nothing more. Regardless of everything left unsaid, the sight of it brings comfort. More so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after as we finish our food, there's ease in it. In this. In the muffled sounds of Luxburn filtering into the room. In the light streaming from her windows and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils of her hair. In the way her voice falters when she tries to form words. And despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it. Softly after a minute's pause, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes, silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day, he'll eventually...
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from LuxU.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open, right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I've placed it. Back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zach?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zach sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And Anyway, if that doesn't pan out too...
I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden, too heavy to impose on her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we are not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her. More than anything, her family will always come first. I say it nevertheless, if only to let her know that no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine most of all.
You have us.
The words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology up my throat, her expression dissolves to something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance to figure out what it all means for her. All of a sudden, a knock breaks the moment, and just as fast, both our attention shifts toward the source. Please be Zach, for the love of God. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand to open the door while muttering some flimsy excuse in the process.
I'll get that. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
I hope it's Rebecca for confirmation that she lived, but I also hope it's Zach because he said he'd be coming over. Really, I know we're in a pinch, but their timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I fling the door open, a whole chunk of the stone that has been stuck at the pit of my stomach simultaneously unseats itself. So Rebecca? No, it is Zach, even though he said he'd be coming over. There in the hallway stands Zach, his hand raised, ready for another knock. Although he's not at his most presentable at the moment, ruffled and drenched with sweat as he is, relief quickly washes over me like a tide. He's still panting when he pushes me aside and heads in. The second his feet cross the threshold, he scans the place, eyeing what little he can see of the room from the doorway. When he finds none of whatever he's looking for, he turns to me with a questioning look, one that has a hint of panic in it.
You said it was urgent. Did anything happen? Is it Becca? Bella?
Everyone's fine. Well, Becca's not here. She went somewhere this morning and hasn't answered any of my calls yet. But Isabella's...
I'm here, Zach. Morning.
His weight shifts at the same time the stiff line in his shoulder eases, once Isabella walks up to us and welcomes him with a smile. He relaxes then, returns our greeting in kind as soon as he has let out the breath he has been holding and the tension's finally off his body.
So, nothing's wrong? Why'd you call me here for then?
My explanation can wait. He has a lot of explaining to do. The fact that he went to Anselm alone for some godforsaken reason warrants a proper one. Ghosts or not, he's already been given a warning. It frustrates me to no end. This might be the plan he mentioned the last time we spoke. I get that he's worried about Hannah Wright. Somehow they've become friends, but that's not the issue here. Not when there's a murderous ghost who might go after one of us at any given time. Sure, Zach made it here in one piece. By some dumb luck, he's all right, and this one takes off the list of people I need to worry about. Frankly, as annoyed as I am, I can't just stay angry at him when I look at the situation that way. Hell, if that call didn't connect in that exact minute, there might have been a chance he won't be standing here. This is a blessing in itself. Though, first things first, some things still need to be discussed. Oh yeah, of course the bottom one. Come on. Yeah, no kidding. Except when I open my mouth, the only thing that spills from it is my own relief. Despite myself, despite the rational part of my brain screaming everything wrong about Zach's neat little plan. We've had so many close calls within just a single night. Zach showing up in Isabella's doorstep alive, whole, and unharmed. I might as well take comfort in that while I still can. I mean, I know the top choice is the more rational, you shouldn't have gone, but like... What's that going to accomplish? He's already been taken off of that plan.
You're okay.
You did tell me not to do anything stupid.
Suddenly the whole room feels too heavy, and all I'm able to do is drop down on the couch. A headache also threatens to burst in the same moment, or perhaps this is what release from anxiety feels like? Regardless, I reach up a hand to pinch the bridge of my nose, even if it'll likely do nothing to alleviate the impending pain.
Christ, you were right there! We have this stupid curse thing going on, and you were right there! You just walked up inside a private property! Those people can easily sue you for breaking and entering, and that's the least of it.
Yeah, Johannes could straight up kick your ass and throw you into the freaking cell where there's probably a spooky ghost.
I know, Ash. But I can't just leave things as they are. I've got to do something.
God damn it, Zach, I was worried.
Unexpectedly, he laughs. Not the half-hearted sort he makes when he's awkward or coming up with an excuse. A genuine one. Before my annoyance grows again and I snap at him, though, he suddenly catches me in a headlock. his arms looping around my neck while he grinds his knuckles against my skull. Helpless, I squirm under his grip in protest. Even then, it's hard to do so when you're up against a 6-footer. Yeah, Zach's a freaking giant. What am I gonna do?
Zach!
Aw, he's worried. Why didn't you say so? That cool act ain't gonna fool me anymore.
Let go!
He relents soon enough, though only after he's done ample damage in my hair. I hate it when he does that. But for a few moments there, the tense mood finally lightened up, and everything felt like how it used to be, before this whole mess began. Makes appreciating little moments like this easier. Still.
Seriously, Zach. Why are you even there?
Told you already. I was looking for you.
Why would I even go there?
Well, you mentioned a plan with Isabella here. I assume that's where you guys went, since that's where she found the letter. Sorry. I was really at a dead end.
The logic in it stuns me into silence, to say the least. Then I remember his hesitance, the tone he has taken before agreeing to go here, and all at once my anger from what he's done wanes. Partly this is my fault for keeping things vague. I can't berate him for assuming that, when I've only left him with vague answers.
You could have called me.
I did.
I didn't receive any, and my phone was with me.
You're kidding, right? I was at it the whole night.
Huh. The whole atmosphere in the room changes in 2 heartbeats. Back again to the tension-riddled one plaguing us. Zachary stares at me like I've grown another head, then gradually he shifts his attention to Isabella. The expression in his eyes, questioning, asking for a confirmation. Like my word can't be trusted, not that I'm holding it against him. I can't even believe the things coming out of my mouth these past few hours. Meanwhile, Isabella stays quiet. Has been like that for quite some time. She looks like she wants to disappear right now. Guilt, frustration, anger, fear, all of flashes fleetingly. All flash fleetingly across her face before they melt away under an expression of worry.
Please tell me he's joking. You were there?
No, we really didn't get any. Everything was quiet last night. But Zach, at BRC, Ashton and I saw...
She never gets to finish that, of course.
Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City.
Ugh. Abruptly my phone rings again, blaring its badly sang ringtone throughout the whole room. Both of them pause waiting when I pull it up to check the caller ID. It's Becca.
I'll tell her to get here as soon as she can.
Without another word, I slip out of the room and answer the call. However... Oh, thank God. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Okay! Haunting is over. We're all believers. Let's get together, please. Ragged, a bit out of breath. There's a tinge of urgency in it. Just a little hint of it, after literally throwing a ghost off of her. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she has just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Yet? Where are you?
Downtown. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
Are you really not going to bring this little matter up?
Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. I'm at Salemwell. If you can get here as soon as possible, that'd be really great. This is... related to that.
You're there? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, Zach too.
With a quick press of the button, I switch on the loudspeakers and step back into Isabella's apartment. And the timer reset. I hold out the phone towards the two, giving it 2 shakes, urging them to speak. Both are still carrying worried looks on their faces. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you two.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca.
Hello, Rebecca. Odd morning we're having, eh?
Hey, you two. What's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
Is this really happening? How is she not immediately going, like, I was attacked by a damn ghost? She's just like, hey guys, how are things on your end? Really? Really?
We'll tell you once you get here. Please, hurry.
We were all straight up attacked. Zach, maybe the least so. He got a creepy picture. But, like, come on.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But I'm on my way. Give me a few minutes. I'm driving.
She mumbles a goodbye, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left an even more strained tension in the room. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. She only takes a matter of minutes to get here. Finally! And the second she steps into the room, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but... He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and...
Hello! We were attacked in the damn garage. You were attacked, like, 20 minutes ago. Is nobody gonna bring this up?
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Speaking of which, let's bring that up. Whole. Alive. Although she seems a bit shaken, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, except it does because there was just attempted murder on her. Can we please talk about this? At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. A small reaction. The younger woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for a careful observation, nevertheless. A closer look at it reveals a closer look at her reveals that she is much more disheveled than usual. Hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more on using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has, noticeable once Isabella leads her into the room. It all sprouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. I grab for her arm before she can walk past, carefully, to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. Seems like it at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I suspect some bruising at least. Although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation, they have a nasty way of staying hidden. Sure enough, Becca tenses immediately upon contact. Tries to pull back, although the sudden gesture only elicits another wince, forcing her and Isabella to a halt. Both of them turn to me almost at the same time, their eyes searching mine for answers. Rebecca, for her part, doesn't appear quite pleased with the interruption, or the fact someone has brought it to light. But that someone also has to make sure. Are you alright?
Okay, you're limping.
Good. As expected, she tries to hide it. This time, when she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force. She almost stumbles back if Zach hadn't caught her by the elbow. Even with two more people shooting her concerned look, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Is this real life? Come on! You escaped murder, just now. Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabella doesn't buy any of it either. See, this is where I get pissed off. I understand the flashes of visions, do I bring that up? But how the hell do you not immediately start talking about this? I was attacked by a spooky ghost.
In a library? Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Why do I even try? If I let one of you idiots just die, then everyone would believe it. But nope, we gotta do this song and dance.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly, she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily, she casts a glance at everyone in the room. But only the one she spares for Isabella lingers longer, and in that moment, something unspoken passes between them. An understanding. It strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed. I do get that, but Becca and Ash were coming down the hardest on her, and they just got, a physical encounter.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, that is gonna be one hell of a nasty bruise.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
Well, that actually is true.
Ouch! Like I said, nasty.
But she's there? She went after you.
Okay, frickin' finally.
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Belle, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
I mean, she is. Also, you should have just run.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dead. Another close call. Another would have. Another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? Well, with my skills, as long as you need. We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
That marks the end of it, at least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy, considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once what happened last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Zach's encounters with the woman in his dreams, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears, the dread, the fear, the terror she brings out, even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be. Logic be damned. Or at least it's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this still makes a fucking damn sense. A fucking damn sense? Whatever. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've ever been before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head and the sheets of paper I've been holding smack the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
It's an odd thing to hear from her, the very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, you already looked through those files. You're the one that picked them out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper.
Not so dumb if it can kill all of us.
Very funny, Z-Man.
That is, like, a genuine... That is a great fake laugh. Like, that's amazing.
Anyway, like I said, you discovered that paper right before the open house. No one else was allowed inside during that time. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is...
Maybe there's more than one of it. Even my friend, the priest from the cathedral. He's been acting strangely.
Father Norman? Him too?
Yeah, I visited him a few days ago. He was hysterical. They think he's sick, but I have a feeling what might the real cause be.
What might the real cause be? That's clunky. What the real cause might be.
I knew it. I shouldn't have asked for his help.
He was only trying to help too. It's not your fault. There might be more than one of that paper going around that we don't know about. More to this. I mean, look at all this stuff Rebecca brought with her. Apparently our teachers have been lying to us all these years. So who knows?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city has been founded. Her eyes narrow with each line, "They pass," but linger at the illustration of the noblewoman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavor on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? Somehow, even with all this information in hand, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde mansion. Will bringing the letter back there fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's a private property now, can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my own friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later, she'll get us. Before that happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several long hours of sitting. We've been at this for too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen when they're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting.
We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few...
The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth as something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. Really? Are we gonna get a spooky ghost with all 4 of us in the room? Really? A harsh booming noise rending through the eardrums of everyone in the room. I'm gonna save real quick, this is strange. All at once, the 3 of them are on their feet while I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst a sudden hush, the 4 of us exchange anxious glances. This is a bizarre one. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movement sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Are you kidding me? We're going full-on poltergeist? The lights go out. Suddenly the lights go out, and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward, and I release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person. I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, its smooth surface against my palm with the trigger on my finger provides the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing?
I don't think that's a good idea. We should just...
Worried as they all are, they immediately stop at the slight raise of my hand. One more time? But the edge is there while they all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead, it has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally, the more times I save. Another shallow breath. I glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swinging the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards my companions, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it isn't my imagination. Or maybe it is, and I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. In the next second, I'm barking orders. And I'm saving. And...
We should go. Everyone, we need to... Ah!
What? I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. Alright, we're doing this. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine and the back of my head as it collides against floor, ouch, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision. And then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles. The smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating. Sickening. A foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I've heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Uh-oh! Perhaps it's just an experience saving. Or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes. The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. It's in the manner her gaze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers, who never regretted their actions despite being caught. This is the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in and then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. I guess we're good? Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading everyone out. That's it, we're just out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while I'm driving us out of Salem well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet, even as the last of the woman's painful cries fade into the night. Well then, happy Halloween. A dreary downpour starts off the Monday, but for now it's time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? Everybody got together, everyone's alive. Marianne's still in a damn dungeon cell. I'm sure we'll deal with that. But we all got haunted at the same time. Any discussion about whether the ghost exists is now over. Not even pretenses. I know, but do they know? Now we all know for sure. We got directly attacked in Isabella's apartment, and we were able to just run away. I really don't know how this ghost works. I guess she can teleport, but then she can't chase us. I don't know. But in any case, we are the hell out of there and at the park. Where do we go from here? I don't know. Guess we have to come up with some sort of plan. Until next time, everyone.